I know.
Amazing. Carmelia, so something else we we missed a little bit earlier. About expectations, and this has to do with expectations that we set for ourselves as business owners and as practitioners of our trade, our art, and also expectations that we set for our customers. How do you manage expectations for both the stakeholders involved in your business, your customer, as well as yourself? What is the appropriate process? Like we talked a little bit about how you interview your customer, you see this is a good match or a bad match. You talked a little bit how you interview your contractor to see this is a good match or a bad match. How do you define what is good, what expectations is okay, what is not okay? How do you go through that process?
Well, before someone hires me, as depending on what they're hiring me for, usually there is a specific deliverables and expectations that they get from me. Maybe that some of those deliverables and managing those expectations is how often are we going to communicate? What method are we going to communicate? Do they want me to phone them? Do they want me to email them? What are my business hours? When is my shut-off time?
Yeah.
Right? What's the method if they're going on vacation? It is a high-touch business that I'm in, and communication is key, and that's what causes upset. The other thing when you're talking about expectation is when it comes to matchmaking, how many matches are they going to get or not get? What's the time frame that they're going to expect that in? Am I working with somebody for 6 months or 12 months? And within that time frame, how many dates are they going to have?
So it's really like an interview where you are interviewing the customer to understand what are their needs and expectations.
Absolutely.
And then trying to match whether or not you yourself feel comfortable taking on that customer with those expectations.
Absolutely.
Do you ever have to lower them?
Lower my expectations?
No, like maybe the customers, you know. If
a potential client is saying to me, I'll give an example. A lot of women are sticklers on height, okay? And I ask them, what are your deal breakers? And usually as a matchmaker, we say you're allowed 3 absolute deal breakers, and only if I agree that that's a deal breaker, okay? So for example, if someone says blue eyes is a deal breaker, I'm not sure that I can work with that parameter, right? Because that's limiting so many people. I mean, you can wear contacts for that, right? There are certain things that are deal breakers and not. Smoker, non-smoker, I get it. But height, now if a woman is 6 feet tall and she's like, I'm not comfortable, like 5'11", like an inch shorter is probably what it is. There's got to be a reasonable, what I consider to be reasonable for them. And if we don't agree on what's reasonable, then they're going to move on to someone else, because I'm not going to sit here and argue for the rest of the time.
There's no point of trying to lower their expectations, because the trust pretty much already set.
Those are their expectations, absolutely. However, I can change perspective. I can have a conversation about, does that really matter? Sometimes what singles come to me as an absolute, after a discussion about what that is, we discover that that's not really what's important to them. What's really important to them is something else. And so long as we've got these key core compatibilities, the things that actually matter in a relationship, that's what they care about.
Very interesting. So you really have to work with what they bring to the table, and you really can't fiddle around too much with those expectations, because I guess they're not going to be getting what they want if you try to give them something, well.
Or we agree to disagree.
Yeah, exactly,
right?
exactly.
We agree to disagree. And I'll give another example where someone might say, I'm looking for someone who's super fit, a marathon athlete.
And a CEO of Tesla.
Right? CEO of Tesla, right? This quality. And yet, they're not the equivalent of what they're looking for, right? Well, I want someone to motivate me. That's the reason why I want that person. Okay. So we'll have a conversation about that and what's fair and reasonable.
Very interesting. So a lot of management, a lot of expectations.
Sure. Imagine you're a mortgage broker. A couple comes to you saying they want $1 million home with $130,000 budget.
But all we can do is $500,000.
Yeah. What can you do, right?
Not a whole lot. I guess it really is. It has to be a lot with being honest with your customer, with yourself, and just simply decline and focus on those customers that maybe perhaps deserve your attention more and are a better match for you as well as a professional.
Yes, again, first match is going to be with you and your clients.
I guess why waste your time on convincing somebody something that they're just not willing to change their mind about when you can just go out and find another customer who can appreciate the service
Yes.
and really kind of understand what is possible.
I get that
versus-
question a lot. A lot of people say, do you ever turn people away? All the time.
Yeah.
We turn people away all the time.
No, I can relate that with that as well. You know, I think it's the difference is just you also have been around for so long, you're really long in the tooth in your industry where you can afford to do that. I think the other part of it is also when you're starting out in the industry, it's very difficult to say no. I found that, again, just by virtue of trial and error when you're starting
I
out.
did the same thing when I first started,
Right.
thinking you could help everyone, and it
Yeah.
was just a lot more time was used in frustration on working with the wrong person.
Just trying to convince somebody of something they're not even willing to listen to. About.
Sure.
Like it's just you talking to the wall.
You're wasting time forcing an outcome.
Why
and that's
talking
just,
to the wall? Turn, shake their hand, thank them for the time, turn around, walk away.
Yeah.
Next one, next door. Let's find somebody who is willing to listen, who is willing to learn, who is willing to explore this with me, and then get the result that both of us are okay with.
Absolutely.
I like that. So very, very honest, very straightforward approach, Carmelia.
Thank you.
I think, guys, if you wanted to follow Carmelia, I highly recommend. Her handle is right below her name at the bottom of the screen. Make sure.